It's simply a work of fiction at the end of the day.
None of this is real.
Hello friends and welcome back to ReddX, your source for the freshest daily cringe content ×2 on the internet. It's pretty cool and it's totally science, that's just a fact. You can go ahead and look it up if you want. Today we're jumping into that r/Tales of Neckbeards, wrapping up the Tabodi saga, or so I think. I'm not really sure. I'm gonna have to talk with the character consultancy about if she thinks that this dude will pop up in the future. I mean, it says that it's the end part number 2, and I was told that the end was a 2-parter, so I'm assuming that I can get a compilation together, but that is tentative at the moment. Given how the compilations do, when I do finally get them up, like only a week after the final upload, I mean, I guess I probably want to wait a little bit longer, so we'll just see if another story pops up in the meantime. But until that point, we're gonna get this one out of the way, so let's do the plugs and disclaimers and whatnot, and then we will dive into the last crumb of our Tabodi neckbeard cringe. The Beard of 1,000 Irritations, The End, Part 2. Hi everyone, and welcome to part number 12 of my experiences with the Beard of 1,000 Irritations, or Tabodi for short. If you found this part and want to start at the beginning, you can find part 1 here, or more likely in the description, since this is a video, and if you click that link, ain't nothing gonna happen, you're just gonna pause the video. I broke the final chapter of our interactions together up into 2 posts so that you guys don't get square eyes from reading it all in one go. That's fair enough. I would have consumed it all in one go, would have made a hell of a video, but we'll do it how you want to, OP. As a quick recap, Tabodi has a sci-fi story in the works and has hired me, a writing coach, to help him with his world building development and to get his story written and ready for publishing. Working with him was frustrating at times, so I wrote down my experiences with him here to try and help me stay sane. I've changed a few details to protect both the innocent and the bearded. Quick trigger warning for discussions of incest, homophobia, and transphobia. Oh boy, we're in for a good one today. Let's have a little prayer to the gods of monetization for some mercy before we get started. Okay, so you guys are going to need a cast list, so here it is. OP, a 30-something from Wales with an online writer coach business. The Beard of 1,000 Irritation, that's Tabodi, a European ex-customer of mine with a dystopian post-apocalyptic sci-fi story in the works. I've only ever seen one picture of him, and I can tell you that he is clinically obese and has no beard. Not outwardly anyways. I've never met him, so I can't report on his hygiene, but I can confirm that his mom cooks for him. Oh boy. How old is he again? He does have a long-distance relationship going with an American girl, so hopefully his mother will be free of him soon. It could be somebody else's problem. Jay is Tabodi's co-writer. Tabodi depends on this guy to write the creative material for this project, like most of the creative material. Jay usually wasn't very talkative to me, which Tabodi managed by being the spokesman for the pair of them. Jay comes from a country which is known for having an issue with rampant poverty, and sometimes with a regressive attitude towards women. Jay had a pretty big reaction to my concerns about his commission uploads. He told me
Not to assume that just because he was male, that he was ignorant or malignant towards women.
He told me that he grew up
Surrounded by women.
yeah, totally accurate. And he has lots of female friends.
Female friends.
Yeah, we could dive a lot into just those 2 phrases. But you probably already know what I'm gonna say if you've been hanging around here for a while, so we'll move on. He went on to say,
I do understand women. I know how they act and how they think, and I know my boundaries and how to respect them. Do not assume that just because I'm male, that I do not hold respect care, or lack understanding to how females may be portrayed in a story.
There's that females word again. And you know he's lying because there is not a man on this planet who truly understands how women think. That's part of the power that they hold over us, isn't it? He went on to repeat that his commissions were just that, commissions, and that they don't represent his beliefs and ideas. He responded to my offer to help him adjust his customer base by saying,
I've established a small returning customer base, and you want me to change it?
and asked,
Ultimately, what guarantees that it will work for me? I could give it a try, but I won't stop taking in these stories.
He suggested that we talk again in 2 days' time, and I agreed. A blessed break. That in itself was something of a headfuck. In the day in between, I could see that both of them were online. I realized that people have other priorities, but I couldn't help but wonder whether they were talking about this without me in the picture. I mean, they can do that, of course, but I just don't get these sorts of problems with project managers who feel the need to keep the team apart and keep secrets. I hate being excluded. I've dealt with way too much of that in the past, but regardless, I waited. Could be just a bit of paranoia on your part too, OP. I mean, it doesn't guarantee that they're talking to each other. They're just both online. I wouldn't read too much into it until we get some proof, but I'm sure that the proof is coming, so I'll shut up. When the day came around that I responded and said that he may or may not have had malignant attitude towards women, but that it looked like he did, and whether he did or not, he wouldn't get the opportunity to explain his point of view if or when the project went public, and thousands of people saw it. Honestly, I still wasn't convinced about his benevolence toward women, or females, if you prefer. Who writes these subjects when they have lots of female loved ones? But it was starting to look like appealing to his and Tabodi's concerns about the success of this project would carry more weight than just my concerns about it on my own behalf or the behalf of my business, or even as one member of the team able to offer a female perspective. I could see by this time that I was going to have to walk away from this project. So I thought that I'd also drop a few other issues that the boys might want to face up to together. Firstly, I mentioned that I had felt for a long time as if Tabodi had been trying to keep Jay and I separate. I had also said that 100 million copies sold for a first project was over-optimistic. And that's putting it lightly. This is a pipe dream, dude. Like I said, sell 100 and we'll work up from there. 100 million? Do you realize how much that is? Now that I've come back to turn all of this into a tidy narrative for you guys, I realize that Tabodi, while he must have seen both of these points, didn't respond. And neither did Jay, for that matter. But anyway, back to the narrative. Jay responded to all of this by saying that he had a solution.
To make a secondary account that wouldn't be linked with his existing ones, where he could post his kink commissions.
He said that he wouldn't take down the stories he already had up, as that would be a slap in the face to those that had commissioned them. He also said that only 4 of his stories had the themes that I was concerned about, and that he had written 3 of them
to showcase my absolute hatred for it and the ideology behind it.
So is it a commission or not? I'm a little confused. And OP didn't buy this, not for 1 single minute. Especially since Jay has a customer base of people who commission him for these works. Either you write what feels important for you to write, or you write what you're asked to write for money. You can only have one top priority. Yeah, I do feel you on that, OP. Both of them can be a priority, but only one of them can come out on top. I think with this channel, I do what feels important for me to do or talk about. If it was all about the money, then I wouldn't even bother covering things like Bootbeard or Wheezybeard or touching on sensitive subjects like that, because that doesn't have the mainstream appeal. That's not the kind of viral video that you're going to share with your grandma or whatever the hell. So while I do feel that both of these things are important, I do have to concede that, yeah, there can only be one top priority. And obviously he has made it all about the money. Unless he actually enjoys this malignant kink work, as you put it. And if he is actually trying to like showcase his hatred for it, then why does he write it the way that he does? You know what I mean? There doesn't really seem to be a moral at the end. Or anywhere throughout the story, for that matter. He said that the fourth story was
a spur of the moment kind of thing that came as an idea made with another friend.
He asked me if his solution would work, and Tabodi chimed in saying that
he thought Jay's suggestion was workable.
I pointed out the risk that somebody might make the connection between Jay's main and anonymous accounts anyways. It is a much smaller world than we all think, especially with the internet in play. And all you need is one eagle-eyed reader to pick up on some quirk in your writing, or for you to confide in one customer, and your secret can come straight out into the open. I asked what they both thought about that risk. Tabodi said that
he admitted it was a risk, but that he'd be satisfied with us making the connection as hard to make as possible.
I.e. the measures described above. He then said that
the response to the risk should be proportioned without precluding too many things.
Which I think means that he thought that this was all a small problem or a small potential problem, and that I was just making too much out of it. Bro, people get canceled for less, I'm gonna tell you that much. That reminded me of Tabodi's message to me a couple of weeks ago about how disturbed he was over people's reactions to the recent scandal around Five Nights at Freddy's creator. I believe that the reaction could be similarly strong if Jay's commission history were to be revealed to a big audience. I mean, depending who's in the audience, you know, if they wrote it as kind of a smut story, which is where I really do see it going, then it might not be as big of a deal, although I'm sure some people would still disagree with it. If they're looking for mainstream appeal, then yeah, the witch hunt will begin, I'll tell you that much. They ain't gonna be able to find jobs nowhere. I also reminded them both that I have a background in psychology, and that's one of the reasons that I personally took all of this so seriously. I have seen people affected by incest before. Some people might think of incest as just a kink, either their own or one enjoyed by other people, but I have worked with people who have actually been through it themselves. And since seeing that, I can only see works that fetishize the subject as harmful, as well as fetishizing the behavior, it normalizes it. And the more that it's normalized, the more it might happen. There are subjects that need to be brought out into the open so that we can all discuss them without the weight of shame and help survivors recover faster and more completely. Contributing to the already vast online library of fetish works does not achieve that goal. The two people I worked with during my psychology studies were both absolutely crushed by what had happened to them, and I wouldn't wish that on my own worst enemy. Yeah, it's definitely a weird thing. There's like a large betrayal of trust there. There's a reason familial bonds are set up the way that they are, but I guess the taboo is most of the appeal. But with that said, it ain't my cup of tea. Jay reacted to say,
well, that's why things are called fetish. Following that logic, then what should I do if a client, say, wants me to write a story featuring something like bondage, or for something relatively innocent, such as trans or gay relationships?
He also said something about how it would be traumatic for somebody to go to bed with somebody that they thought was female, only to find out that they were male. I'll spare you a direct quote on that one. Ain't you never seen that movie, The Crying Game? I pointed out that adults can consent, and my issue was with fetishizing adults who have not consented, or children who could not consent. Jay acknowledged that terrible things have happened to some people, but he also said,
let's say this. two adults, related by blood, consent to incest, taking precautions, and everything in between. Are they in the wrong?
Which was not what I had been getting at. And I am also not going to touch that with a 10-foot pole. Although I did see an episode of Friends recently where Ross tries to kiss his cousin or something like that. And she was freaked out, as she rightfully should be. I don't think it can really be normalized, even with all of those caveats in place. So I reminded Tabodi that we were talking about children who could not consent. I didn't follow the thread that adults can also not consent, although I acknowledge that that probably did deserve its own discussion. In the moment, though, I just wanted to make my point and then disentangle myself from these two. He made one more attempt to explain, saying,
But in a story that incest survivors most likely will never read, presenting such a situation as a fetish has nothing to do with them. It's not out of malice or prejudice or because I don't care. It's simply a work of fiction at the end of the day, with warnings and labels added so that survivors don't read or stumble across something that would open up those wounds once more.
That was enough for me. Far too much justification. Like I said before, I've seen people shaken to the core by what happened to them, and the idea of turning a blind eye while more of this toxicity gets leached out into the internet is not what I'm here for. I tapped out and said, no, I'm out of this. You guys and I are gonna need to part ways. Tabodi asked,
If I was sure.
And I said, yes, hell yes. Never darken my doorway again. Jay made a final comment of,
If that's the case, then okay, I won't stop you. I do present the option of side-striking my accounts and basically presenting a clean slate. If that's not enough, then I don't know what else to do except quite literally start from the ground up, destroying everything that I've done, commissioned work and my own, mind you, and hope that no one digs it up.
Man, this boy really wants to die on that incest hill, doesn't he? Okay, you have fun up there. I'm heading on down. That's it for me. That's it for OP. It's over. Goodbye. So there we have it, folks. This has been a big enough change that I felt out of sorts the next day, and writing this final two-parter has been pretty cathartic in itself. I've worked with Tabodi for over 2 years, and he was my 4th most profitable customer. But there are some things that money just can't buy, like human decency. I've learned so much that I've already incorporated into the business about working with customers who aren't used to teamwork, who hope that their journey to getting their project to market will be a lot easier and smoother than it is and basically refuse to hear otherwise, and who try and ignore the opinions about their works and plans that they just don't want to hear. Persisting with Tabodi, even when it was hard, even when it was unproductive, was an education in itself. And I have learned much about how things get done easily, what's worth fighting for, what's worth keeping an eye out for in the early stages, and most of all, the fact that I just want to work with people who make working with them easy. So we can get on with the real challenges, not made up ones. Thank you, everyone, for coming with me on this journey and for reading my descriptions of my frustrations and failures and very occasional successes. If anyone's feeling generous, I'm welcoming pledges to my Patreon, which is linked in the description at the very top of the description. I'm hoping to hire a salesperson, or 2 or 3, and we will need to secure regular income to provide them with a base rate of pay. When I've got a strong team of salespeople, I'll be able to steer the business into new places and make it even more fun and helpful. I've got one final thing to say here. While I'm no longer working for Tabodi and won't be dedicating time to his questions or requests to chat, I do still have an open line of communication with him, and he is still in my Discord server. It's possible that he might generate some more material that I can post here. So while this is probably the end, I might just have something to write in the future. TLDR, I part company with a neckbeard and his writer friend due to said writer having a gallery of stories featuring malignant kinks. And so as one chapter closes, yet another opens. OP has plenty more stories about plenty more weird beards getting funky on the internet. Although I don't think that there's anything quite as dark or dismal as this J fellow. Who would have thought that out of the pair, Tabodi would be the tolerable one? Is that not completely wackadoo? What the hell? What does it take to be worse than Tabodi? Apparently Jay found the answer, man. And it drove OP right out the door, which can only be a good thing in the end. Like she said, now she'll be able to focus on customers that are easy to work with and that actually want their problems to be solved. I might consider bringing some Jay or Tabodi stories up for a live stream at some point, if I can find a way to get to them without blowing the character consultancy's cover, which I've kind of already done, you know. But I'm pretty sure Tabodi is so disconnected from reality that he's not going to pay any attention to what's going on over here. Dude can't even manage to focus on the story that's right in front of his face, so I'm not too worried about it, but maybe for a live stream or something, one of these days we can sit down with some of these J stories and really dig into the meat of it, see just how horrible it can get. Part of me wants to do it, part of me is terrified, but which part will win out at the end of the day? If you guys have comments about it, let me know. Is it a horrible idea? Would you love to see it? I'm definitely gonna start making time for some more live streams. We did a few, it was pretty fun, pretty productive. But now we've stopped, and I think I need to get back into that. There's also the 10,000 subscriber special coming up, which is going to be pretty cool. I'll be posting a poll pretty shortly for that one. But I do hope that you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, I hope that you like, comment, and or subscribe. Check out the links in the description. Mine and my wife's channel, Mr. and Mrs. ReddX, the Teespring if you're trying to rock the merch, my personal subreddit, r/ReddXReads, my Amazon affiliate link, which currently goes to my microphone, but if you click through, buy anything else on Amazon, I get kicked back a little cash, which is pretty dang cool. There's also my social medias down there, Twitter, Discord, Facebook, oh, and my gorgeous, wonderful, beautiful, generous patrons. I would like to thank them all, but especially Calvicus, Fatboy Shrimp, Robert Waits, TSM Kirby, Teddy the Police, Aaron W, Delicious Jelly Donut, Candy Sora, Fire Drake, Liverson, Silent Revolvers, Atheris, Zero MMX, Little Lone Wolf, Vanilla Mel, Ralph Stour, Caustic Fox, Derpy Tricks, Aaron Lennox, Fisher Diggy, OG James Cook, JM Coon, Jerry, John Hero, Miss Monday, Nomag, Melgar the Destroyer, Mirthful Baker, my boy Nat1 Nick, Lady Nix, Katikins and Elizabeth, Sidestep, Cider Drinker, Serrated Ass, Siegfried, Steampunk Ellie, Synaptic, Boomstick, Brilliant Tamago, Tato Ferret, That Duck and Bug, Fusky, Treeberg, Redwind, Goose Say Honk, Leon Embers, Naga Viper, John Indoors, A-Roxers, Cake Jerry, that's a different Jerry, Crafty Kitty Cat, Orgamic Cam, Princess Rosalie, The Last Shinobi, and the maestro himself, Zuka Cervantes. Thank you guys so much for showing me some love on that Patreon. It's been blowing up real big this month. These people are the reasons that we are starting the double uploads, so if you see them in the comments, go ahead and thank them, and I hope that you guys will consider joining and helping out the channel as well. Always remember to keep yourself safe out there, but also take some time out and do something that you personally enjoy. Maybe watching some more ReddX videos, huh? Always remember, friends, that you are loved, you are worthy, and you definitely deserve it. I will see you in the next one. And until then, friends, bye-bye.